So we made it to Charleston, South Carolina, and today we're going to check out in this series a very neat home where President George Washington once stayed as he visited Charleston in 1791. Let's check out the Heyward-Washington House here in Charleston. Now, before we go in, I just wanted to point this out because this is something you don't see a whole lot, and when people see it, they don't know what it is. But these are horse hitching posts and for hitching your wagon to. So these are original. You can tell that just by looking at them. And then this is a step to step into carriages. So carriage park here, people will step down and they go right into the front of the house. So let's go in here and check this place out. This house is what you call a dog trot house too. Front door in the front, back door straight ahead of us. So you open them during the summer because there's not air conditioning, and the breeze will blow right through. So pretty cool. Okay, so we're in the courtyard of the Heyward-Washington House here in Charleston, and behind me you can see the home. Right here in this location is the carriage house. So right here is just showing a layout of the home and some of the things found here at the home. And there was probably about 4 more structures here before this house was built in 1772. And this is a lot of the artifacts that's come from here. And this is my favorite thing right here, a lot of gun parts. And then some cattle horns. And of course, some vessels from the Muskogee Creek Indians that inhabited this area before, and then some chinaware and different things that was found here as well. So pretty cool. This house was built in 1772, and this is what's standing here today, and much of the same appearance as it would have been when Washington visited here. And if you look at the top here, there was obviously some beams or some kind of structure here at one point. It's standing out from the kitchen, maybe an overhang. But this was basically your kitchen, and there were enslaved people working here and cooking. But this is actually a slave badge that was recovered from the workyard here. So this is the tags that enslaved people would have had, basically claiming them as property, and they would have been given a number. And according to this, they resided on the 2nd and 3rd floors of this building, and was accessed by a stairway on the 1st floor, which is right here. And it says, "Please do not enter," so you can't actually go up to the quarters, but that is the living quarters for them in the top. So in 1792, when Thomas Heyward Jr. advertised his property for sale, he described his outbuildings as a kitchen for cooking, washing, with a cellar below and 5 rooms for his servants above. So he had 5 rooms in 1792 above this ceiling that you see above me, and that's where they lived. But this was where you cooked all your meals, and pretty cool. I guess they had this outside separate from the house, so if the kitchen catches something on fire, well, it doesn't burn the house down. So that's one of the reasons for outdoor kitchens. And another thing is it stays a little bit cooler, so it wouldn't heat your house up. But you can see all kinds of stuff here you used to cook with: toasters, a waffle iron, reflector oven, also called a tin kitchen, which is right there. And then there's your waffle irons and stuff like that right in front of it right there. And then a beehive oven, which was heated by wood, so it was basically an oven. Take that, make bread, things like that. And it's right there, so you can kind of see that there. Pretty neat. Looks like they're having a cow's head for dinner. And this is the washing part that Thomas Heyward Jr. describes in 1797 when he puts his property up for sale. This is where you would do your laundry. Kitchen's right there. You're operating off the same fireplace. One side's for cooking, one side's for heating up your laundry water. And this is the big tubs that they use to wash all their dirty clothes in. I'm sure they smell horrible in here. Here's some more artifacts that were discovered here. Whetstone, a buckle, lace bobbin key, thimbles, buttons, straight pins, and scissors. All found in this location and all had to deal with the laundresses. Because there were repair clothes in here too. If a pair of pants or a shirt was torn, well, this is where they would repair those. And you can see a copper tub or a pot, which is right there. A chair, which I would need to sit down to do their wash. A washing tub, which is there. Fire bellows, which is there, and large ice, cast iron, and pots, which is there. And this is more archaeological excavations that's come from here. Bowls, seagrass that was made to make baskets and things. And then some cattle bones from people eating different things. This is in the workyard. So take their bones, throw them out in the yard sometimes. And then you have feed troughs here, because you did have cattle here too, so that could be from some of the cattle. And as you walk outside, well, this is your carriage house again. This is basically kind of a workstation. And then this was cisterns for the water. So this is the original well of the home, and it's still there. Still got water in it. Huh. And right outside the kitchen, you have another part of the cistern system that would have ran here. And then your drainage, when it rained, would come out here. And this will also serve, to help drain wash water, flood water, things like that. And then the garden that was here, this is the original garden that was here when George Washington visited this home in the 1790s. And this is a look at the garden. Pretty neat. And then there's a work shed here. I believe that's what this is. You can go inside, so let's take a look. Okay, no, it's not a work shed. It's a crapper. So this is where you would go to do your business. That would be the outhouse. And probably was the outhouse up during the time too, but but a nice garden. Well, at least if you had to go to the bathroom, nobody would smell you. So yeah, that's definitely not a work shed. So there's a cellar to the house too. That's where you would keep a lot of fruits, vegetables, canned goods, food that you want to keep cool, especially here in the South Carolina heat. Now, fortunately, we can't go in there, but I wish we could. There's no telling what's been lost down there over time. So there's the man himself, George Washington. And let's see what we have here. This is Charleston native Sarah Moore Gimrick and Angelina Emily Gimlick Weld. They were abolitionists and women's rights activists. She was born in 1792 and lived here until the family moved in 1803. And Angelina was born in 1805. And as adult sisters moved to Philadelphia and joined the Society of Friends that became the first female anti-slavery agents. So there's George Washington. And Here's some letters from Washington. And if you look, there is George Washington's original actual signature. And this original letter that's being described and transcribed here. That is so cool. That is George Washington's handwriting. Well, we're not going to read this entire letter, but you can pause the video and read it because it's a pretty long letter. And this is a facsimile of the letter from George Washington to Edward Rutledge. And this is the actual letter. And then this is another letter from Washington to Edward Rutledge. But that one's not original, while this one is. And we're in pretty much the reception room of the home where you greet your guests, and they have a bookcase from the library, a portrait of Mary Odingsill, Miss Samuel Jones, triple chest, which is basically kind of like a set of Chester drawers, but it's 3 chests stacked on top of one another. And then a secretary bookcase, which is right behind us, a breakfast table, and different other things in the room. So, and cool thing is, you just saw a lot of the artifacts on the stuff outside. Well, they're displayed right here. Artifacts from the home, some bottles, toothbrushes, buttons, chinaware. Some of the bones you saw displayed in some of those. There's that slavery slave tag. That is the actual one in that photo. Some buttons, different kids' toys, bottles. And check this out. That's a bottle from 1708, stamped with a seal of G.A. Hat, or Hall, G.A. Hall, a coin, some Great Britain stamped chinaware, 1861 coin and an older coin, some clay pipes. There's the gun pieces, and all kinds of cool stuff from Great Britain. And this is pretty neat. So these are artifacts that's come from this house, and yeah, pretty cool to see. So this is the dining room, and that's a nasty looking cake. Beef Wellington, some oysters, a dining room table, 6 Chippendale style chairs, not for Chippendale dancers, but that's just what the chairs are called. A knife box, which is, honestly don't know where the knife box is. I think that may be it over there with the spoons in it. This is Daniel Heyward and his wife Elizabeth on the wall, and a sideboard. But what's catching my attention in any of that is the mirror, because that is most definitely the original mirror. And I don't know, it's got a weird look to it over time. I don't think the camera does it justice, but it's bubbled up, and I don't know, maybe George Washington looked at himself in that mirror. But that's Jane Elizabeth, Gilliet Hayward, I probably just butchered her name. And then that's Daniel Heyward there. And then some pieces of the original chinaware of the home. So this is from China. This is Chinese export porcelain. And I've seen a lot of pictures of these before. These are Chinese exports. People will get chinaware from all over the time period, and your chinaware would reflect what kind of status you were. So these were pretty middle, upper class people. And I don't know, that thing right there just is throwing me off. That doesn't look good at all. But yeah, I got definitely a lot of meat.
There's walks there, archaeological digs and things. So that's one of those. But there's 2 others. The preservation outside at Charleston.
So this is the bedroom chamber, and there's different things in here that's pretty neat to the home. First off is a portrait of Susanna Simmons, or Miss John B. And then we have the wash station here. It's where you get up in the morning and do your washing. They had a fireplace here to help heat the bedroom. And then a necessity chair. Well, I think JD had one of these on the History Underground channel and some video he did of one of his houses. But this is a chair you not only sit in, but if you need to get to the bathroom, well, it's got a hole cut out so you don't have to get up and walk outside to the outhouse at night. And maybe George Washington himself used this chair. Who knows? But you got your dressing table and then a bed. And this bed is decorated on the post here with rice themes, which are common in Charleston because rice was a big crop here. People think it was cotton. It was, but it wasn't. The number one was really rice. And that was your big export crop here in Charleston, was rice. And then your usual bedroom mirror and Chester drawers and nightstand. And then your shiffer room, or what we call a shiffer room. So this is another bed chamber right across the hall from where we just were. And a very spooky portrait of it. No, there's no way I would have that in my house. But that's Elizabeth Smith. Yeah, that's spooky. But you have a chest on chest in here, your bed. This is from around 1760 to 1775. Probably for a child. I guess is the way they have this set up, where a mother and child. Then you got an old cradle. This is from 1700 or 1770 to 1800. And then a bureau table, which is right over there. And then you have a pot cupboard washstand, which is right there. That's where you wash in the mornings. And then I'm trying to figure out what that is over in the corner. I don't know if that's to pee in or to pour water out of. There's no telling, because you may think it's a vessel for water in a bedroom at the time frame, but it could be where you use the bathroom at, just like the chair you just saw. So I don't know. Leave in the comments below. Let me know what that is. But yeah, another cool bedroom here. So a very nice volunteer from the Charleston Historical Museum, right? Okay, yeah, that's right. Just told us what room George Washington slept in. And it was this one we were just in. So when I joked about George Washington maybe using that necessity chair, well, I may have not been joking after all. But this room was repainted. The students from Clemson University did an analysis and archaeological study here, and they said that the paint in this room was fit probably for a president. So it makes sense why they repainted the room to impress Washington himself. So yeah, we're standing where Washington once slept and maybe used the bathroom. Who knows? But pretty cool. Come here and see this for yourself. So this is the wood drawing room here at the Hayward-Washington House upstairs. And you see a library bookcase, and then a secretary bookcase, which is a smaller bookcase, and a figurine from 1790 to 1795. They said that's Washington. Well, it looks more like a fat Benjamin Franklin to me. And then you have a case clock over here. It says Charleston in it. This clock is from 1780 to 1785. And then Isaac Holmes, John B. Holmes, and Christopher Gadsden, all really popular people during the American Revolution period and afterwards here in this home. So pretty cool. So as we walk out of there, the next room you come to is the drawing room. You've got a breakfast table, an urn stand, bracket clock, spinet, and portrait of Susan Holmes, Miss Thomasby, and Thomas Heyward in here. So this is basically your relaxation room, and that's for tea. That's an early tea kettle. Keeps your tea warm. Women would sit here and have tea, breakfast, crumpets, biscuits, tarts. You see a piano. I'm gonna sit here and play a piano. So pretty ornate room. Probably the most ornate room of the house besides the dining room. But just kind of weird. I'm used to seeing this downstairs, not upstairs. So there is other floors in this house, but they are roped off because of fire code. That this was basically the children's quarters of the home. So can't go up there, but it's quite simple. So one more thing before we get out of here is this window that you see here on the run from the first floor to the second. If you'll notice, you can see the kitchen, garden, and carriage house. Well, the owners of the home could stand here and make sure the slaves are doing what they're supposed to be doing. But you know, they're gonna look inside the home and see what they're up to too. So this is basically your access from the inside to the outside courtyard. So instead of going out there, open the window and yell to someone what you wanted. So I'm right across the street from the Heyward-Washington House, which you see there. And this is the Samuel Lagar house. He was a lieutenant during the American Revolution. So he first recorded coming here in 1694. Huh. According to a 1768 ledger, he traded in indigo, bricks, deerskins, rum, and other goods. So pretty cool. Lieutenant during the American Revolution lived here. And there's houses all along this street. You can walk outside of their private residences now, most of them. But they have a historical plaque, so they let you come by and read. And they all have these awesome courtyards. So if anybody's got a couple of $1 million, let me know that you want to get rid of, and I'll buy a house and a dog just like that. This is the Alexander Christie house. He was a Scottish baker and merchant. He had this handsome federal style single house built as a personal residence, and he built this prior to 1823. It was built in 1805, so pretty cool. So if you saw while we were in the Hayward house, we mentioned Thomas B a lot. Well, he was a leader in the colonial government and patriot of the Revolution, and he built this house in 1730. And it was later owned by Governor Joseph Alston and his wife, Theodosia. She was lost at sea in 1812, and they don't know why. But the nullification movement that split the nation started here in 1832. John C. Calhoun, South Carolina Governor, Robert Hayne, General James Hamilton, and other leaders drafted the nullification papers in the second floor drawing room of this house. The first floor sitting room, what we're looking at right now, was the original location of headquarters for the historic Charleston Foundation. So the articles of nullification were actually drafted right up there. Very historic home here in Charleston. Right next door is the Ann Peacock House, and this is known as a Grand Model. It was erected by W.M. Hall for Ann Peacock, a wealthy widow from St. George's Parishes, Dorsetshire. She died in 1769, and the property changed hands several times, and in 1877 they were left to St. Michael's Church. So this was a pretty old house here in Charleston as well. So there's a little bit about the Heyward-Washington House and a lot of other houses right across the street that you could come check out from it, including a very historical spot in our country's history. So come check them out. I'm gonna get out of here. We'll see you from another episode here in Charleston.